Several minutes of commercial-free football starts now.
Here are the Purple Mortgage Guys.
Hey, welcome to another episode of Purple Mortgage Guys, coming to you prime time Thursday night, guys. I think the Seahawks and Niners game's just getting started here. Hopefully we got this one released. The game's still going on. Vikings play the Colts on Saturday at noon. So it's not a Sunday game. We got a Saturday game this week. It'll be nationally televised. Vikings are favored by 4. Should have a good chance to get back on track. But obviously concerns with the defense guys and maybe some offensive line concerns. And just wondering which version of the Minnesota Vikings we're going to see this weekend to get back on track at home at US Bank Stadium. So guys, they're playing the Colts. The Colts have a coach that has never coached in the NFL until a few weeks ago. They've got a quarterback that is very immobile and on the downside of his career. This feels like a game, one that we've been asking for all season, where they can finally put an opponent away early and just cruise. That being said, do we really think we're going to see that with this defense? Tanner, I'm going to start with you tonight. What do you think? What are the big keys for Saturday against the Colts?
Yeah, Saturday this week. Let's go win the North, huh? Gosh, dang it. Should have won it last week. Let's lock up the NFC North this week. Hopefully, if we can do that, we can kind of work on maybe doing a little bit more rotation on defense here and get guys like Zadarius and Neal healthy heading into the playoffs here. So there's no reason they shouldn't beat this team. I do think the Colts are going to make it tough on us. It's not going to be easy. This is another pretty good defense. Obviously, they're 4-9, but the offense is the liability of the team we are facing again this week. The Colts are 31st in the league in pass protection this season. So Matt Ryan
we might get a sack.
Yeah, it's something they really struggled to do here the last 3 to 4 games. So Matt Ryan is obviously on the downward trend of his career. Having a poor offensive line definitely isn't helping him, and Jonathan Taylor is really struggling to get going this year too. So, I just think the offense needs to come out and hopefully fire quickly here in the first quarter. See if we can put up a couple scores, and then maybe take a little bit of ease off the defense, because I think everybody knows that all eyes are going to be on Ed Donatel and his squad this week. So, yeah, let's just lock up the North. I'm ready to move on here. Don't want to have to worry about it anymore. And hopefully we can face Green Bay and Chicago in January with a lot less stress.
Yeah. Goose, what do you got for this Saturday game?
Yeah, I think Tanner kind of hit on it there a little bit at the end. Like, all eyes are going to be on Donatel and the defense. I think I'm feeling like the defense is going to respond a little bit. One, it's a favorable matchup against a struggling offense, and then because they've been winning, they haven't really had to answer for their performance. And so I think after a week long of press conferences about passing yards and loss in total defense and just nonstop repetitive, I think I've heard Pat Pete do 5 interviews where he's being asked about the defense. I think some of these veteran guys that are doing the interviews are going to be like, Cam Bynum, quit getting burnt over the top. The plays that you're making are great, but you gotta be the deepest guy on the field. I think the veterans are going to crack down, and I think they're going to respond a little bit. Now, I don't think they're going to look like a traditional dominant defense, but I think they're going to limit the mistakes, and play some cleaner football, and hoping we look good. I think the Colts defense shouldn't be taken lightly, but I still think that our offense is good enough to put up points against them and put up more points than the Colts offense should be able to put up on our D.
So where do you think that line is points wise? Talk about yards, I guess, all day, and turnovers and all of that, but points wise, what's the number that the Vikings have to hold the Colts to where it takes the heat off the defense? And if it's over that number, maybe it's a second week of, even if they win the game, but just another week of questioning Donatel and taking that heat. My first instinct is like, if they score more than 20 points, I feel like we're going to have that same conversation. If it's less, maybe it pipes down a little bit. But what do you guys like? This is not a great Colts offense by any means. Matt Ryan's been turning the ball over like crazy. I don't remember who they were playing on primetime a week or two ago, but it was frustrating to watch. They stayed in the game, but yeah.
It was Dallas. I just want to see, like, Donatel has nothing to lose at this point. Like, he should know that his butt is on fire. Like, his seat is as hot as it could possibly get. Like, he should be coaching for his job right now. And if you've been getting the same grief every single week from the media and fans and probably other people inside the locker room about the defense struggling, change it up. Do something different. Send some pressure. Have your corners play up closer, get more physical. Like, you got to change something. And I just want to see him just shock the world. Come out and shock us all.
Is it kind of like a Zimmer thing, though, where it's like pride or arrogance? Like, this is working, this is fine? Because it seemed like he's the opposite of O'Connell, where O'Connell's always taking the blame and I can do better. And Donatel, like the limited media stuff you see with him, it's like the scheme's not the problem. It's fine. We're getting better. We're going to figure it out. But man, we're in December. We're still trying to figure it out.
Yeah, Ed's been in the league for a really long time, and there probably is a little bit of arrogance there to go along with how Mike Zimmer possibly coached as well. I mean, he's had defenses that have been successful in the past, but as we all know, the league changes and adjusts every single year, and this is obviously a more passive league now than it is a league that leads the league on the ground. So you need to be able to adjust to the times. I don't think he's done that, and it's just time for him to move on, probably retire at this point.
What do you think the number is? Like, how many points are you okay them giving up? Obviously, there could be weird things that happen, but in general,
I almost expect
the number that.
Go ahead, Goose.
Go ahead, Tim. Well, I was going to say the number that came to my head right away was 24, but I pulled it up while we were talking, and the Colts are averaging 16.1 points per game. So that's pretty brutal. I would say
that was actually the same number that I thought as well. Goose was 24.
Yeah, I would say that if we only gave up 24 points, we should win. So I think that should be good enough to win. However, I think to feel okay about our defense, I think your number at 20 is fair because they've been averaging 16. They've played some really stout defenses. So if we gave up a few more than what they're averaging, I'd feel okay about that. But I think our offense on any given week against any defense should be able to score more than 24.
Well, I think there's a difference between what we think would be a good game and maybe sneaking out with another victory. I think even if we win 27-24, something like that, I think it's not going to sit very well with the team that's supposed to be, a 2 seed at 11-3 at that point. So, well, we'll see what happens there. We'll get into some bold predictions here in a second. We mentioned the 49ers game tonight that's going on. That's a huge one for us, actually, because if we stub our toe in one of these last 4 and they run the table, we go down to the 3 seed, which would mean potentially, if all things play out, going to San Francisco for a divisional round game. And I don't think any of the 3 of us want any part of that scenario. So I feel like we have to win 3 out of the 4, and they'll probably do the same. And if we win out, obviously, then we're fine. But Tanner, let's get into some tidbits for this weekend. Saturday edition. The Colts. What do you got for us?
All right. The Vikings are 2-6 all time against the Colts since the Colts moved to Indianapolis, including 2-2 in home games. They have not beat the Colts since 1997. They are 0-6 since then. So don't know where you guys were in 1997. I was not in school yet, probably still in diapers running around my parents' house. So, boy, it's been a really long time. I think I read a stat or somebody said that Kevin O'Connell was in 6th grade when the last time the Vikings beat the Colts. So this is the longest drought of any team that they played in the league.
Was that 2 years ago that the Colts came to town? Maybe that's part of your tidbits. I was at that game, and that was a disaster. You guys remember that one?
they've had lots of disastrous games against the Colts, but also a couple close ones. I don't know if you guys remember the when we went to Indianapolis. I think Christian Ponder was still the QB and almost won that game in the fourth, but Andrew lucked his way to a W. So Kirk Cousins, this will be his second career start against the Colts. Obviously, his first is a few years ago against them in Indianapolis. He is 0-1. This will be his first start at home against the Colts. In that start, the worst QB passer rating of his entire career in a single game. He threw 0 touchdowns in that game, 3 interceptions, and a 15.9 quarterback rating, the lowest of his career. Matt Ryan is 3-4 in his career against the Vikings, including 2-2 in Minnesota. In those starts, he's thrown for 234 yards per game, 13 touchdowns, 6 interceptions, and an 83.8 quarterback rating. So the Vikings have had Matt Ryan's number for a good majority of his career as well. Some more Matt Ryan stats. He actually leads the league in interceptions this season with 13. Matt Ryan also has the 4th lowest quarterback rating amongst active starting quarterbacks. Only Davis Mills, Baker Mayfield, and Kenny Pickett have lower QB ratings. Matt Ryan is also the 2nd lowest graded quarterback amongst active starters for Pro Football Focus as well. Only Baker Mayfield has a lower grade. Dalvin Cook needs 50 yards to eclipse 1,000 rushing yards for the season. Only 5 of the running backs have met that mark so far. Also needs 118 yards on the ground to pass Chuck Foreman for 3rd in team history. Only Adrian Peterson and Robert Smith have more. Justin Jefferson, after his big week last week, is slowly working his way up the ranks here. Finally 2nd in the league in catches with 99. Only Tyreek Hill has more with 100. Jefferson is now 1st in the league in targets and 1st in the league in yards. He needs 5 more catches this week to eclipse 300 for his career. And he needs 107 yards to pass Stephon Diggs this week for 9th in team history. I don't know about you guys, but that's crazy to me that he is that far along already in just his 3rd season. Eric Kendricks needs 9 tackles this week to eclipse 900 for his career. Colts linebacker Zaire Franklin's having an excellent season in place of Shaq Leonard. He is 4th in the league in total tackles.
Is Shaq still not playing?
Yeah, he's out for the year. He had like a broken foot or a broken leg or something. He's not going to play again.
Did he come back for a game or two and get re-injured?
I don't know about that part. I just remember reading a couple weeks ago that they placed him on IR and it said he was out for the year, like he's having surgery or something.
Interesting.
So definitely beneficial for us. He's a stud, one of the best linebackers in the league. So
yeah.
The Vikings are Pro Football Focus's 5th highest graded team this season. The Colts are 26th. So near the bottom, 2 very polar opposite teams here. Although the strength of their team is their secondary, Stephon Gilmore and Isaiah Rodgers make up the league's 2nd highest graded cornerback tandem. I'm sure you guys can guess the first. We played them a few weeks ago in DJ Reed and Sauce Gardner. So another fun matchup this week for JJ and Adam Thielen. The Colts defense leads the league with the lowest big throw percentage allowed this season. So they just don't give up big plays in the secondary. If they are going to give up big plays, it's typically on the ground. Not sure if you guys remember Yannick Ngakoue. Spent I think like 6 or 7 games with the Vikings a couple of years ago. Led the team in sacks that year. He only played 6 or 7 games, and I think he led the team in sacks with like 8 or something like that. Him and Afadi Odenigbo are now with the Colts. Yannick is one of the starters, so he gets to face Christian Darrisaw this week. Fun matchup for him.
I was always a big Afadi fan as a underdog player who shined a bit. So
I like the Afadi too. Big Afadi fan for sure.
Oh,
dating back to this. Go ahead.
Real quick, Tanner. I'll never forget when the news was announced on Yannick. There was about 5 minutes of being really pumped about thinking about him pairing up with Daniil before I realized that he was replacing Daniil because he was injured. So that emotion just popped back up in my memories when you brought that up, because I was like, oh, that's going to be a tough duo to handle. And then it was like, and Daniil is out, and that is why we went after him. So good memories.
Solid rotational player for the Vikings. Kind of sad that he's gone, actually, but it is what it is. So, dating back to the start of last season, 2021, the Vikings are 6-0 at home, coming off of a loss. Thought that was a fun stat. The Vikings are currently ranked last in the league in total defense. They've only finished last in the league one other time in team history. In 1984, that was the Les Steckel season. They went 3-13 this year, and Les was fired. They are also giving up 287 yards per game through the air. That also is last in the league. 2013's Nightmare Secondary, not sure if you guys remember that squad, also gave up 287 yards per game that year, which up to that point was the most in team history. A little bit of trivia here again to finish up. Can you guys name the last time the Vikings beat an opponent by more than 2 touchdowns?
It's been probably 3 years.
Brent is correct. Can you name the team we played?
By more than 2 touchdowns?
That we stomped on by more than 14 points. Can you name the last team we beat by more than 2 touchdowns?
So this would have been the 2019 season?
The 2019 season.
Wow. I know Griffin would know.
Griffin does know.
Oh,
we've talked to him about this multiple times.
He does know. It's the Chargers in LA.
You want to go grab him quick and ask him what the score was?
He's not close, but he would remember.
Yeah. I think the Chargers had 19, because I remember when Griff recited it, that I was like, man, maybe he remembers because that's an odd score, but
it was 10 actually, 38-10.
Well, so we beat the Packers week 1, 23-7. That's a 16-point margin.
I just read a stat before I came on here that said,
debunked.
Let's see if I can find it again real quick.
Tanner, you do is fake news.
You did just call me out on.
Well, that was my first thought, and then Brent was like 3 years ago, and I was like, did I misremember that score?
I just want to make sure I read this correctly. I don't want to make sure I didn't.
Let's just put it regardless of what it was.
I bet it was 2 scores and 16 points is technically.
Here it is. It says the Vikings haven't beaten an opponent by 17 plus points.
Yes.
Those tricksters.
And actually, here's another fun tidbit with this. That Chargers game was 3 years ago to this day.
Okay.
Today. It was today.
Nice.
So
I remember that there was the majority was that small soccer stadium that the Chargers played in before SoFi.
That held like 20,000 fans.
Yeah. All right. Does that wrap up our Tanner's Tidbits for this week?
Unless you guys want some more PFF trivia. We can just skip that this week too if you want, because I know you guys
down for some trivia.
It seemed like you struggle to get that right.
Well,
we'll do top.
We need some help.
Go ahead.
You need some help with it. Throw it out there.
Okay, so these are all starters. We'll do top 5 first. Top 5 graded starters on the Vikings this season.
This season,
5 graded starters
in order.
Top 5. Yeah, let's get them. Well, no, just get them. Just get all 5. You don't have to do an order.
All right, I'm going to start, and Goose is going to clean up the mess here after I throw out some names. Okay, Darisaw, JJ,
number 1.
Zadarius Smith, Daniil
5.
Hunter,
number 3,
Brian O'Neill.
Yeah, he gets. Oh, really? Brian O'Neill jumped up the ranks.
I feel like Brent did research this.
No, I did not.
I was going to ask him about it.
I swear to you.
So that means Pat P dropped out, and Brian O'Neill came up,
moved his way up before.
Okay, and
Zadarius. I felt like Aiden Hutchinson kind of threw him around a bit last week, but
Zadarius is hanging on.
You guys, we've had some doubters. Primetime Brent is like the opposite of primetime Kirk. This is where I shine.
Yeah, that was impressive.
Okay.
When you
Brent,
said
here.
Brian O'Neill, I was like, oh no, he's been your kryptonite all year long.
I believe in Brian.
I love it.
All right.
All right, but
Those,
we're gonna
those,
flip the switch. Flip the switch. I want you to ace this. Get the bottom 5 now.
Shannon
I
Sullivan.
don't think you will. But yeah, Sullivan's 4, fourth lowest.
Cam Bynum.
Cam Bynum is second lowest.
Ed Ingram.
Ed Ingram is the lowest graded starter for the Vikings. You got 2 left. You
Uh,
guys are killing this.
Ezra Cleveland.
No
I
Ezra.
think he's actually graded out decent.
He is actually, I think, like PFF's like 12th graded guard or
Cam
something.
Dantzler.
No Cam Dantzler.
KJ Osborne.
KJ Osborne is the 3rd lowest. Goose, this last one's going to kill you because I know you're such a big advocate.
Eric Kendricks.
Eric Kendricks.
Oh no.
Wow.
EK. Have it
5th
your way.
lowest graded starter.
Are
It
those our Tanner's tidbits?
Those are our Tanner's tidbits this week.
I like it.
Good tidbits, Tanner. I wouldn't have known that the top cornerback duo in the league was Reed and Sauce, unless we had your tidbits. So
I think we talked about that, didn't we?
right,
When
that's when I learned it.
Oh,
So when you said these guys were the second one, I knew who was first because of
you
your
already know.
All right,
tidbits.
guys, we got to get into some bold predictions here.
right.
We've got, let's just a reminder here. Vikings are favored by 4. It's a noon game. It's a Saturday game. US Bank Stadium, a home game. 47.5 is the projected total. ESPN predictor gives the Vikings a 70% chance to win. Goose, give us something bold. I'm going to write it down this week so I don't screw up and get the wrong thing in my head with what you guys are predicting and give Tanner the benefit of the doubt again. So,
well, I'm coming off of a 2-parter with both of them hitting, so I feel a little pressure. I'm going to try to follow that up. And I'm having a tough time this week with my predictions. I feel like most of my predictions have been offensive, so I'm going to try to switch to the defensive side and back up my thought that our defense is going to have a rebound game. And I'm going to say the Vikings turn the Colts over 3 times.
are you kidding me?
That's not bold.
That was going to be mine.
3 turnovers.
You got it. It's yours. It's yours.
Yeah, well, wait. Okay, so I'll give you. I want you to go a little bit more in depth. If you hit it, if you hit the 3 turnovers, you hit it. But I want. Are these all 3 Matty Ice picks, or are we gonna go after Jonathan Taylor's arms?
In my head, it's 2 picks and a fumble.
We haven't had a fumble recovery in like a year.
No, that's not true.
I can't even remember the last time we've had one.
Jalen Waddle.
It felt like a year.
Which was 3 months ago.
3 months, a year, basically the same thing.
It's pretty sad.
I mean, that's the one I can think of off the top of my head. Maybe that is the last one. I feel like there's been a muff punt here or there. Yeah, I'm going to guess 2 picks, a fumble. I don't think the fumble is going to be Jonathan Taylor. I think it's going to be a wide receiver, returner.
Okay, we'll that's pretty bold. We'll let you go.
Right.
It's 2 and 1.
Sounds good.
Tanner, what do you got? I need some time to regroup here after this curveball.
I got another curveball because we haven't seen a sack in what seems like forever.
What is a sack?
So,
is that where you tackle the quarterback behind the line of scrimmage?
Pick him up, and politely put him on the ground.
Okay. Yeah, I don't know what that is.
And Matt Ryan is an old veteran, so we got to be nice to him. They're going to pick him up politely 4 times this week and lay him on his back.
4 sacks.
Not injure him.
One of those
4
could
sacks
lead.
against.
You know what? That is actually, it feels like that's more bold than Goose's because of the track record. Okay.
We
I like
to be
it.
bold.
You know what I'm going to do? Because the 3 turnovers were taken from me. I'm going to go back to the well. You know what well that is?
Jalen Rager.
Yes.
Yeah.
Two
You're gonna
catches.
die on that hill by yourself.
Two catches and a touchdown. One of the catches could be a
Wow.
touchdown, or he could get a rushing. So
2 catches or 2
Hey.
touches?
two
Hey,
catches.
I like
Okay.
it.
And a
I like
touchdown.
it. Kenny Moore is not playing, and he
I
lines
am-
up in the slot. I like it.
I am willing number 5 onto the field. And if it doesn't hit this week, it's New York. It's going to be a Christmas miracle. So,
Yeah.
guy, give me the final score.
Go for
Goose.
Goose.
All right. Let's see. I said I think 24 points is going to be good enough to win. I'm going to go 31.
Wow.
I know. I keep predicting 30 plus points.
God,
and
that's
it
a
just
lot of
doesn't
points
happen.
against this defense, man.
Yeah, we're gonna hit our stride. 31-17.
Ooh.
We don't get our 17-point victory.
Okay.
But we get a fairly solid victory where we're not sweating at the end.
Goose, you and I have been hanging out too much together because you are seeing it clearly. Tanner, you got a loss again this week, or are you gonna?
Mm-mm.
Hey, why don't you
No,
introduce us?
I actually.
Why don't you introduce us to this your guest picker here as well?
Oh yeah, here we are. This is Maya.
There's Maya.
She's a big Vikings fan. She likes
Maya?
to watch these with me on Sundays.
Does Maya get scared when you yell at the TV?
During the Bills game, she actually did. I actually wish I could have recorded it. It was super funny. I think the fumble recovery we had in the end zone for Kendricks, I got up and I was like screaming because I couldn't believe we were about to win that game. She went and hid under my table for the rest of the game. So she does get scared occasionally when I get too excited.
Now, what's Maya
But-
say the final score is going to be here then?
We talked about this together, and she was like, "Dad, I agree." And I said, I don't feel good about this, Maya. Just like every week, probably going to lose this one. And she was like, "You're crazy." And then she talked me out of it. And I said, I agree. Greg Joseph is going to hit a field goal late in the fourth to put us up by 1 point. And we're going to win 20-19.
So we're going to win 20-19. We're not going to cover.
2019 Vikings. We're going to win the North. North is ours.
I don't know how I'm going to
20-19.
feel about that. Well, I guess they held him
Winning
under
the
20.
North or Greg Joseph?
20-19.
19.
If we back-to-back weeks score 23 and 20, are you at all worried about? I know the Colts defense is good, but are you at all worried about our offense production at that point?
Yeah, I'm either worried about the offensive line or a lot more than that.
I still have lots of concerns about the offense just clicking going forward, but I'm still like, as much as I shouldn't be, I'm still trying to give them as much of the benefit of the doubt as possible, just because of the amount of like insanely tough defenses we played this year.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, Goose, I'm going to go more your way of thinking here. I think we score the most points. I'm being very optimistic, and I don't know why. I think we're going to score a season high for points, which I believe 34 would do that for us. And I think we're going to hold them to 16. I don't know how. I think they're going to kick some field goals. I think they're going to kick 3 field goals. So we're going to win. We're going to have our biggest win of the game. Not 17 points, Tanner. We're going to win by 18. 34-16. And if we do that, all is well.
You know, when our defense was at our
prediction in
best,
itself.
we were only giving up field goals. So I really do think this is going to be a bounce back game for our defense. Just doing a quick fact check, 34 would match our season high, which we scored against the Cardinals. I'm looking forward to it, Brent.
If Matt Ryan carves us up, it's going to be a long week. Guys, let's just jump right into that then. If we come out short, Tanner, if Greg Joseph misses that field goal, it's easy for you to say what happens. But if we do come up short, Who are we complaining about? Okay, let me put asterisks here. One first name,
Specific player.
one last name. Tanner
Or
struggled
coach.
with this last. Yeah,
I'm ready. I was
It
prepared.
can be a
I was
coach,
prepared
Tanner.
for
It
this.
can be a coach.
Okay.
No, I'm not going to pick Donato again because I just already expect him to let me down.
Okay.
So
Oh, this is
I'm
good.
going to
So,
go with
like, you have expectations. This is more like if they don't live up to your
Yeah.
standard.
I do.
Okay, I like this angle.
The Colts left tackle, Brainerd Raymond, I think is his name, the rookie, from Central Michigan. I think he is a turd. He is a human turnstile. So
Is he a starter by injury or is he their designated starter?
he is their designated starter all year. They had
Wow.
Anthony Costanzo retire, and I just don't. They never replaced him. So
Yeah.
I am going to go with Zadarius Smith. He actually I was watching some replay. I don't know why I didn't catch this in my look back when I rewatched the game last week, but Zadarius actually, granted he only had like one tackle, he actually put up quite a bit of pressure on Jared Goff throughout the game. He just wasn't getting home. So I expect him to get home this week, but against one of the worst left tackles in the league, I'm going to be extremely disappointed if he doesn't get home at least once this week. He's due for a sack. I don't think he's had a. What did you say, Goose? We looked this up earlier this week. When was the last sack he had? It's before Dallas, wasn't it?
Yeah, it's been 4 or 5 games, and he's had like 7 tackles in those 4 or 5 games.
Over a month. So get home. You got some motivation. You're playing for your coach's job. Get home. Get home.
And according to Ed Donatel, you're healthy now. So
yes.
Goose, give me one name. First name, last name. Tanner nailed it this week. So
I thought about taking your advice last week where I could just say Cam and then we could guess on who that only maybe use a different name.
I use Smith
because
same concept, yes.
Because I feel like I could be very frustrated with Cam Dantzler or Cam Bynum. If Cam doesn't play again, he's starting to feel like a corner who can't stay healthy. And when he does play, he's hit and miss. Sometimes I thought he's looked really good. But because I think there's a chance that he doesn't play, I think I'm going to go Cam Bynum. I called him out last episode. I think he's a little too much boom or bust as a safety, which that's one of the few positions in the league that you can't really take a ton of chances. You're the last line of defense. I'm thinking Harrison's looking like he's going to play, and I think Harrison kind of keeps him in line with his assignment and where he's supposed to be on the field. Kind of one of those veteran presence where if you look at Harrison, you feel like he's taken a few steps back. You kind of forget about what he brings to you outside of just his play with his leadership and making sure everyone knows where they're going, what they're doing. But I think that if we lose, it's our defense had another rough game. And I think the biggest weakness of our defense right now is our coverage and our back end, allowing those busted coverages and letting guys behind.
So for the record, you're going with Cam?
Ideally Cam. I think that'd be safe, but I will narrow it down to Cam Bynum.
All right. Guys, we didn't even mention the injury report yet. We got a bunch of guys questionable. We have Garrett Bradbury, Cam Dantzler, Daniil Hunter, Patrick Jones, Harrison Phillips. I would assume most of them will play, but I think when we did our show last weekend, we did not know that we'd be missing 40% of the offensive line, and that ended up being a disaster. So I think the easy, obvious answer is Ed Donatel. There's a ton of heat there, but I'll dive a little deeper and actually go the other side of the ball. I think Ed Ingram, still that interior part of the O-line, if they're able to put some pressure on, that could derail the offense, and then we don't score points again, and then the defense follows suit like they have. Ed Ingram's grading out as one of the worst offensive linemen in all the NFL, so that's not great. He's kind of flown under the radar a little bit the last couple games, but I would say Ezra or Ed. I'll go Ed on that one, and I think that could be a problem. So
literally my only memory of the Colts game 2 years ago, which I feel like that's not long enough for me to not remember it too much, is DeForest just throwing Garrett Bradbury. Or was it Drew Samia?
It was Drew Samia, yeah.
5 yards. Like like he was a toy. And so I think that's a good call, Brent. It's going to be a tough matchup. I think we're going to need some double teams, some things to throw him off his game because he's a beast.
Yeah. Well, we got to wrap things up here, guys. Seahawks, Niners should be about halftime here by the time we're wrapping up. We need the Seahawks to score some points in the second half and hopefully come out on top. That would put us in a really good spot going into the weekend. And any closing thoughts, guys?
Just looking for
Go ahead, Goose.
Tam. All right. Just looking for a bounce back game. I do feel, as much as I hate the scheme, I feel a little crappy about how much it's been pointed at Ed Donatel. I've hit on it a bunch, but when someone's open by 30 yards, it's not scheme, that's player. So I think there should be as much blame on the players as there is the scheme. So hoping they rebound, defense tightens it up, and that they're sick of these press conferences so they can have a little extra motivation.
Good. Tanner, what do you got to close us?
Yeah, I just wanna see us lock up the North this week. I know we place a lot of blame on Ed Donatel, but I also think that Kevin O'Connell probably deserves a little bit of grief as well on the offensive side of things. I want to see some better play calling this week. Don't get super fancy inside the red zone. Just score points. Beat these guys. Let's move on.
Definitely. We always talk about never too high, never too low. It's always one week to the next, and it can vary greatly. So I do look for him to bounce back. You could get the victory. Have a good week ahead of us going into the New York game at home. And like you said, we'll have wrapped up the division and hopefully be in a good spot for the 2 seed. So thanks, everybody. We'll see you on the other side, and good luck to the Vikings this weekend.